I came out at 26, which might be young to some people and might be considered old by other people. In comparison to my peers, however, it's considered old. So for the sake of narrowing down this video, I'm coming from that perspective. Today, I want to share my experience in being omnisexual, pansexual to be exact, and the long, winding journey that it took for me to realize who I was. This video has it all. Internalized homophobia, growing up as a queer kid in the 90s and early 2000s, compulsory heterosexuality, masking as a neurodivergent person, and not feeling like I could come out because I was dating a man. If you're new here, which, let's face it, you probably are, hello and welcome to my channel, where I share my experiences as a queer, late diagnosed audhd woman while I play some of my favourite cozy games. The game I'm playing today is called Unpacking, which is perfect for this topic. This was not planned, by the way. I got this game on a Steam sale. I love a good sale, by the way. And I love it so much. I'm having so much fun. I can't believe it's taken me this long to play it. So, without further ado, let's play Unpacking while we unpack my sexuality and how it took me so long to come out. First of all, what is pansexuality? A lot of people think that pansexuality and bisexuality are the same things, and it's not quite. Bisexuality is attraction to more than one gender. Pansexuality is attraction to people regardless of gender. Depending on who I meet, if I get the feeling that the people I'm with have no idea what pansexual is, and I don't feel like hearing the jokes about being pansexual, or I don't want to explain what it is to them, I will just say that I'm bisexual or queer. Recently, I've kind of been using the word queer more because when I say that I'm bi, I feel like I'm kind of not representing myself properly. So I wasn't one of those people that kind of, came out of the womb and knew my sexuality. Figuring out attraction to people took me a while. I also grew up in the 90s, and there was a severe lack of queer representation. People were just kind of cottoning on to the fact that it was okay to be gay, but not really, especially if you were a lesbian. And bisexuality didn't even exist. I grew up in England, and in my tweens, my family and I moved back to Sweden. We're in the early 2000s now, and things haven't gotten much better homophobic wise. The term, like, oh, that's so gay, was still very much being thrown around, meaning that, oh, that's lame or that sucks. So when I was little, I wasn't thinking about my sexuality at all. And then in my tweens, that's when, people around me started kind of thinking about their sexuality, started talking about, having crushes on boys and stuff like that. I remember being really worried that I was a lesbian, while at the same time being very confused because I did feel like I genuinely felt an attraction towards boys. I remember during that time you're kind of inundated with images, like very hypersexualized images of women, and they were always viewed through the male gaze. So I kind of internalized that and thought that was the way you should view women if you are attracted to them. And that is not how I felt about women. So I kind of thought, oh, okay, I'm probably not gay then, so I don't need to think about it anymore. And I just closed the door on those kinds of thoughts. A few more years go by. Now I'm in my teens. People around me are having their first sexual experiences. My friends were coming out as bi or gay, and I was always really happy for them. At this point, bisexuality was more on the map. A couple of years earlier, I'd been obsessed with Green Day, the band. Looking back on it, I think That was a special interest of mine at the time. The singer in Green Day is openly bisexual. So I think that was how I was introduced to the idea of being attracted to more than one gender. I still didn't feel like it really fit me. And I had also closed the door on examining that part of myself. So it wasn't even in my mind to think any thought about me not being straight. And then I had my first sexual experience, and it was with another girl. It really confused me because, number one, what just happened? And number two, why did it happen? I remember in rom-coms or whatever at the time, it was quite common to kind of joke that girls will make out with each other to practice before they made out with boys. So when me and this girl suddenly started making out, I rationalized it with, oh, we're just practicing. We're just practicing for a guy, you know? And then there was some more making out and some more things than making out. And I was like, no, but we're still practicing for a guy, right? Yeah, we're that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. And then we had sex, and all thoughts of practicing for anyone went out the window. And it was actually a really nice experience, especially for a first time. However, the whole thing made me extremely confused because at this point, like I said, I'd closed the door on examining that part of myself. And now that door was forced open. I had to crack it open. So, okay, brain, we need to think about this because you just had sex with a girl and you enjoyed it. So, what does that mean? It was a scary thought. I was also undiagnosed with audhd at the time. So, my mind was already overstimulated and overwhelmed by everything that is growing up as an AFAB person, trying to navigate social situations, trying to understand girlhood, trying to understand all the rules that there are to being an AFAB person, trying to manage school, all of these things. It was incredibly overwhelming and overstimulating. And I just did not have the mental capacity to deal with that, survive day to day, and also examine my sexuality. So that door was just kind of left, half open. And then I got into my first relationship with a boy. I remember being so relieved because I was like, oh my God, okay, yeah, so I am attracted to this boy. Everything is good. I'm straight. And I just slammed that door shut. I locked it and I threw away the key. And I was like, this is great. I never need to think any of those thoughts again. Boom, I'm straight. And a long time went by. We're talking like a decade of me actively going around telling people I was straight and thinking I was straight. I even said to somebody, I am the straightest person alive, which is like the famous last words, isn't it? By the end of my second serious relationship, I was starting to kind of look through that keyhole in the door. And I was being like, what's she up to in there? Is she having a great time? Oh, I see a disco ball. I'm hearing great music. Yeah, maybe I should examine that. So I was kind of rooting around in the weeds, trying to find this key that I had thrown away. When that relationship ended, I was like, I'm actually going to explore this. And I'm going to date women. I'd also, at this point, come across the term pansexuality. And I remember saying to people, I don't understand this whole pansexuality thing. I mean, isn't everyone just a bit pansexual? Which I should have known then, So I'm single, I'm meeting people, I'm having a great time, but I wasn't like fully out, and I wasn't fully out to myself. And this story would be so great if it ended here with, and then I met the woman of my dreams, and now we're getting married or something like that. But that's not what happened. I was working through so much trauma at the time and really focusing on healing. not knowing that I was neurodivergent as well, that I had fully accepted that I was fine with being single for the rest of my life. I was not expecting to meet the person that I met, and I was not expecting to fall in love. But I did. I met the person who is now my partner and has been my partner for 7 years, who is a man. 2020 rolls around, and I, like the rest of the world, was at home scrolling TikTok. And that damn TikTok algorithm, I don't know what it is, but it has called me out on myself so many times. It made me examine my sexuality. It called me out on my neurodivergence. It's called me out on a lot of things. I was getting a lot of videos about female sexuality, the male gaze versus the female gaze. When understanding the female gaze, it kind of cemented it for me. Okay, I am attracted to women. I'm actually very attracted to women. I just don't view women in the same way. I don't sexualize women in the same way that the male gaze does. I also saw a lot of queer women talking about examining, their own sexualities, and I could relate to a lot of it. However, I felt some very weird imposter syndrome about claiming the identity pansexuality. I kind of felt like that's like me just wanting to hang with the cool kids. I can't be going to a pride parade, taking up space, because that would be fake of me. Like, I had a really weird imposter syndrome that I had to work through. In 2022, I was like, fuck this. And I slammed open that door. I slammed it open so hard that the wind was like blowing in my face. And I was like, this door is going to be open from now on. I am pansexual and I deserve to claim my own identity. I came out to my close friends again, and they're like, listen, we know. All right. I came out to my boyfriend and I came out to my family, and I've been out ever since. So yeah, that was my long journey to understanding my sexuality. Thank you so much for listening. I hope to see you again in my next video. Have a great day. Bye.